Call the meeting to order. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Burke County Board of Commissioners regular meeting held here in the regular meeting room for Tuesday, October 17th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, we have Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Burns, Vice Chair Britton, Commissioner Carswell, our County Finance Officer, our County Attorney, and our County Manager all in attendance, Madam Clerk. I remind everyone to please silence their mobile devices. And I would ask all speakers to activate their microphones before speaking or making motions for the YouTube recording. So when you come to the lectern, let's make sure the red light is on so everyone can be heard. This time, I'm going to ask Pastor Keith Barnett, Bridge Worship Center Ministries International, to come forward and lead us in the invocation. And then I'll ask our county attorney, and please remain standing, because then I'm going to ask my county attorney, Mr. Simpson, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Lord, Father, Lord, we just thank you today for all that you've done. Lord, we could just stand for hours and begin to thank you. But God, we come to you tonight in prayer. Lord, we're working together in unity. And God, we ask you to bless this meeting. Lord, let them come together in unity according to your word. Let them do everything as you would direct. Let them think upon the precepts of everything that you would guide them on. Let them look at the end of a thing before they begin the thing. Let them come together to agree that by you and through you and with you, that all things are possible and all things are good. And Lord, we can't come in any other way but by the name of Jesus. And Lord, we praise your holy name. Amen.
Please join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Gentlemen, that brings us to item number 4, approval of the agenda. Gentlemen?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda by moving consent item number 1, the Western Piedmont Community College proclamation for National Apprenticeship Week, up to number 1 presentation.
So Commissioner Carswell, we're moving on. Item number 6 under consent to item number 1 under presentations. Correct, sir?
Correct.
Thank you, sir. All those in favor of the motion signify with uplifted hand. Motion carries 5-0, Madam Clerk. Next item of business, gentlemen, item number 5, approval of minutes for March 2nd, 2023, Board of Commissioners special meeting, and March 3rd, 2023, Board of Commissioners special meeting. Gentlemen, you've had an opportunity to review the minutes. What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the following minutes as presented. March 2nd, 2023, Board of Commissioners special meeting, and March 3rd, 2023, Board of Commissioners special meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, motion carries 5-0. That brings us to presentations. And since we did move on Western Piedmont Community College Proclamation National Apprenticeship Week to item number 1, we have Dr. Welch with us. Dr. Welch, welcome.
There we go. Thank you, and really appreciate the commission taking time to make a proclamation about apprenticeship. One of the things that we talk about with industry all the time is we look at our workforce, we look at our opportunity youth, the number of folks between 16 and 24 that are not going to work, not going to college. It's important that we provide opportunities, and public-private partnerships do that, and apprenticeship's a key piece of that. And we're really excited to have a proclamation. From November 13th to 17th, we'll be celebrating National Apprenticeship Week in Burke County, working with our companies, working with educational institutions, the school district, etc., to celebrate people learning about work. It's really exciting. We started just less than 2 years ago with 3 companies, 7 apprentices. We now have more than 10 companies, more than 50 apprentices working. And just last week, we were notified by Dogwood Health Trust They awarded the college over $400,000, and a big piece of that is a success coach and an apprenticeship coordinator to help us work with our companies in this area to expand, grow, and provide opportunities to build a workforce, which helps us attract industry. And so we're really excited about that. Thank you so much for your support and for doing that. We look forward at Western Piedmont Community College to continue to work with our companies, with you, and with our citizens here to grow a workforce that will attract companies and provide a great life here in Burke County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Welch. Any questions, comments for Dr. Welch?
Do we have a copy of the proclamation?
It was in the
I know, but do we have a,
physical copy since it was removed from consent. Do you have the proclamation?
I don't have a printout of it myself.
We did review it, at the pre-agenda.
I was thinking it'd be a cool photo on it, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, you have a copy in your green folder.
The green folder? Well, I will find that and we'll do a photo op if you have a minute, Dr.
Yes, sir.
Welch. In the meantime, gentlemen, do we have a motion to accept the proclamation?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to accept the proclamation.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Motion carried, 5-0. All right, gentlemen, that brings us to presentation number 2. That's of the month, presented by Caitlin Settelmeyer, our Animal Services Director.
Thanks for having us back for another month for us to present our Pets of the Month. I will let you know I had a time finding a dog to bring up here today. As you will see, I have listed Miss Rain as our Pet of the Month, and she got adopted today. I feel like that happens quite a bit, so that's fantastic. So I was going to bring our next longest resident, who was Cupcake, and she left for foster about 5 minutes before I was coming to leave. So I was walking back through our kennels. This is Mr. Tadpole. He's from one of our animal cruelty cases. That's basically all I have left in the shelter right now are animals that are part of animal cruelty investigation. So he wanted to come out today. He came to us last week, and he's gained about 6 pounds. So you can see he's still pretty skinny, but he's absolutely amazing. We are always looking for people to help us with our evidence animals. These are long-term foster commitments. These animals typically stay in our care anywhere from 3 months to upwards of a year, year and a half. So it can be a long-term commitment. It's not fair to house these animals in a kennel setting, so we do try to place them in foster families. Tadpole would be a fantastic foster placement if anybody's looking to help us out in our time of need, because like I said, most of our dogs that are with us currently are part of cruelty investigations. We have 23 dogs and 46 cats currently in our shelter, so if anybody knows, we have 16 dog kennels, so that's a packed out house. We did want to present a kitty cat of the month. This is Mooney. Mooney is 8 weeks old. We do still have a few kittens left over from our prime cat and kitten season, but he's one of the younger ones that we have. We would love to find him a place to go. These younger guys, it's no place to grow up in a shelter, so if you're looking to add a kitty cat to your family, I would suggest come down, check out who we have. Mr. Booty would be a wonderful addition to your family. All of our cat and kitten adoptions are $20, and our dogs are $40. Dogs and puppies are $40, so you can't beat that. They are fully vetted, and they will be spayed or neutered. Just a few announcements that we had. We wanted to update you guys on our what we've been doing the last 30 days. I think that's our next slide. We had 81 animals adopted and reunited with their owners this past 30 days. Volunteers, we had 54 hours logged with us in shelter and through our Dogs Day Out program. 15% of our stray animals came in through our Finder to Foster program, and they never even had to enter the shelter, so that was fantastic. And we also distributed over 460 pounds of pet food through our pet food pantry in the last 30 days. So our pet food pantry is staying really low. So if anybody's willing to donate to our pet food pantry, that is ran off of donations. So that would be a huge help to our community. And we can go to our next slide. This weekend, it's going to be a very fun weekend. It's actually a one-day event now. We're going to be out at Fletcher Ballpark on Saturday the 21st, and we're going to be hosting a softball tournament. There's going to be lots of delicious food at the concession stand, and I think there's an event at Lakeside Park as well, a walking event. We're going to have some dogs up there. So if you're at that event, walk on down, watch a few softball games, and then go back up to your car. It'll be a great time. I think the weather's supposed to be pretty good last time I checked. Maybe I'm wrong now, but anyway, that'll be a good time for everyone. And as always, we are always looking for fosters and adopters. You can find our information on the next slide. Oh, just kidding. Forgot we have a Halloween event as well. We have a lot going on. So October the 28th, that's a Saturday from 1 to 3. We're going to do Treats for Treats. So you can come in. Our dogs are going to be giving out candy to everyone in exchange for a treat themselves. So if you would like to participate in that, it's going to be fun for everyone. That's going to be 1 to 3 at Animal Services. And then, as always, best way to reach us, phone or email. So always interested to hear if anybody's in the market for adopting or fostering.
Thank you, Caitlin. Always a lot going on at the shelter. Gentlemen?
Yes.
Questions, comments?
Caitlin, could you, as far as the food pantry, pet food pantry, can you give us some specifics about what it is you're looking for?
As far as donations, for our pet food pantry, we will really take any kind of pet food donation. We do have a few animals that need some specific diets, but we do have people who sponsor that monthly. So we really like Purina products. Those are kind of the most reasonably priced foods that are still pretty high quality. So Purina products are really great, but we will really take anything to donate towards for our citizens. They're appreciative. Puppy food and kitten food is also needed, not just adult food.
Okay. Anything else, gentlemen? Caitlin, thank you, as always. Great job.
Thanks.
I'd like to recognize, it is Tadpole, correct?
This is
In
Tadpole.
Mooney, as Pets of the Month, and encourage fostering or adoptions, and also encourage spay and neutering of your pets. So hope your event goes well and you have good weather Saturday.
Thank you. I think I have the next one too.
Yes. Item number 3, proclamation for National Animal Shelter Appreciation Week.
So, the Humane Society of the United States founded the National Animal Shelter Appreciation Week in 1996. This week was created to acknowledge and promote the role of animal shelters in communities across the country. Over 6 million animals end up in animal shelters in the United States each year. The term animal shelter originated after the use of pound, as in dog pound, that took on a negative connotation. Pounds were started in the 1800s and were essentially enclosures where livestock and dogs were seen as a public health hazard, and they were impounded until their owners found them. They would later become known as a place where animals were euthanized at alarming amounts. This led to the change of name that is more positive, and the animal shelter term came to be. Animal shelters today do a wonderful job at giving animals a second chance at life. They also offer many other community resources to help reunite pets with their original families, keep pets with their families, offer education on responsible pet ownership, and advocacy for animal rights. This observance serves as acknowledgement to acknowledge the hardworking people such as community supporters, staff, volunteers, fosters, and many others who work to support the efforts at animal shelters day in and day out. We hope you would join us in recognizing November 5th through the 11th, 2023 as National Animal Shelter Appreciation Week.
Thank you, Caitlin. Gentlemen, questions, comments? There being none, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve proclamation number 2023-09.
Thank you, Commissioner Carswell. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that carries 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night, Caitlin.
Thanks.
Gentlemen, that'll bring us to item number 4, Projects Events Update, presented by Alex Roney, our Assistant HR Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, tonight I wish to present you with a brief update from the HR department, talk to you a little bit about some ongoing and upcoming projects that we have. So we're going to start off talking just briefly about the strategic plan that was set back in March, move on to the upcoming and ongoing projects that our department is currently working on. We'll touch briefly on the pillars of team development and then how those tie into our newly formed Health and Wellness Committee. And then we'll finish up by talking about our Fall Health and Wellness Fair, which is coming up just right around the corner. So again, back in March, the board set the strategic plan for our county, including Focus Area 5, which we're going to talk mostly about today, becoming an employer of choice. So as you can see here, with our ongoing and upcoming projects, everything up here ties in to becoming an employer of choice in one way or another. We're currently in the middle of a very large comprehensive pay and classification study, working with Baker Tilly. This is done to modernize our job descriptions, create uniformity in the way that we have a pay and classification study, and to ensure market competitiveness for all of our positions in the county. Kind of running parallel with this, we are in the process of obtaining substantial equivalency, which means that basically we would create and sustain a personnel system that is found as appropriate by the Office of State Human Resources. This would be a huge win for the county overall, as it would create uniformity again in our pay and classification system, our recruitment processes, policies, and procedures for the whole county, and it would greatly benefit currently our offices of Health Department and DSS, as they currently fall under the Office of State Human Resources. So I want to shift into talking about our newly created Health and Wellness Committee as one of our big projects that we have accomplished recently. And to go with this, just kind of talk about how it follows the pillars of team development that can be seen here. So this Health and Wellness Committee was formed to focus on a purpose, that purpose being to drive and build policies, procedures, incentives, initiatives for the county's health and wellness programs, promote health and wellness for all employees, and ensure that all employees know that the county does want the best for their health, mental health, physical health, and well-being. Again, teams-based leadership, this committee's objective is to drive all initiatives and policies that go along with health and wellness for the county. And then, of course, by doing so, we hope to, these initiatives will bring the county as a whole a positive outcome, which of course would also bring that to our departments and individuals. So briefly, our Health and Wellness Committee is made up of 11 members. We have a very good group of people who have signed up to volunteer their time to be part of this committee from different county departments. Everybody brings a diverse group, thoughts and backgrounds that are very crucial to our health and wellness initiatives that we are trying to drive. And the biggest one that we are currently working on is our Health and Wellness Fair, which is coming up next week. It'll be held October 24th and 25th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Foothills Higher Education Center for all staff. We're looking forward to having a large group of staff there on both days, a large group of vendors, and we hope that we can see each of you there throughout one of the 2 days. So the purpose of this event and of our committee, number one, is to educate. We want to make sure that we can educate all employees on all health and wellness initiatives, all health and wellness options they have around the community to improve their health and wellness. Number two would be to promote employees in taking true account of their health and wellness, their mental health, their physical health. We want everyone to feel like their county, their leadership team is behind them in supporting good health and wellness. And then lastly, of course, to prevent. So through education and promoting strong health and wellness, we hope to prevent long-term health concerns, teach people how to listen to their bodies, listen to their minds, find those risk factors and catch things early rather than wait too late and have a long-term health issue. So to help us push these ideas, we have a large group of vendors that will be joining us. We're very happy to have. This first group here kind of refers to a little bit more of our benefits carriers, as far as insurance carriers, the YMCA, anything that can be considered an employee benefit that we currently have. Also super excited to have a large group of local collaborators from around the county or surrounding counties that will be there to just educate employees on some of the services that their organizations offer, tell them how to get in touch with them if they need things, all the opportunities that they have around the community. And then lastly, we're going to have a few internal departments that are going to be setting up some tables or areas around to help educate. Our health department, social services department will be educating the employees on a little bit about what they do. Community development will be teaching people about how to get outside and access some of the trails and outdoor activities that we have around our beautiful county. And then animal services will be bringing some dogs and cats just so people can get a good mental health break and hang out with a dog, hang out with a cat, enjoy some time with them. And hopefully, maybe somebody will foster one, take one home with them. So I just want to end by, first of all, thanking our wellness committee, everybody's volunteer time and their already busy schedules to make huge sacrifices and finding time outside of normal business hours or during to make sure this event and ongoing wellness initiatives in the county are very positive. And then I want to thank the board for the promotion of creating an employer of choice for our county, and we will continue to work towards that every day. And I'm happy to take any questions you may have.
Great presentation, Alex. Gentlemen, questions, comments? I think you did such a good job. We don't have any questions or comments, but we appreciate you and the staff for taking the time, because as you mentioned, y'all have a very busy schedule as it is. But I want to thank your staff members and teammates on that committee for putting in all that work. And so we look forward to it, and I would encourage all our commissioners to at least try to, we'll all try to come by at various points during those 2 days, because I know that takes a tremendous effort for all of you. So thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the report as presented.
Thank you, Vice Chair Britton. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. 5-0, Madam Clerk. That'll bring us to item number 5, the library. Programs and services update and 100th anniversary. Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. The library has 2 items for you tonight. First is a presentation about library services, programs, and collections, and the second is a proclamation marking the 100th anniversary of the Burke County Public Library System. With your permission, we'll go ahead and start on the presentation. So what's the library all about? Well, we are here to improve lives through reading, learning, connecting, and creating. That's what we're all about, is to help people have a better life. That requires a lot of support. We're very fortunate to have 2 auxiliary groups, the Library Foundation of Burke County and the Friends of the Burke County Public Library, that support us every year. Between those 2 groups, they provide us over $100,000 each year for additional library programs, services, and collections. But that requires even more support, and the bulk of that support comes from all of you. From Burke County, we also get funding from the City of Morganton, Valdez, Hildebrand, Drexel, Rutherford College, and the State Library of North Carolina. A little bit of history. The Burke County Public Library, the Morganton Library, started in 1923 in downtown Morganton in a storefront. In 1935, it moved to its current location. This was the house that was on the property prior to the library being built. It was called Rose Villa. This is the current structure at 204 South King Street. It's been added on to in 1958 and again in 1980. And as was mentioned, this is our centennial year, 100 years. Valdez Public Library, again, started in downtown Valdez in a storefront. This is the architect's rendering of the original building, and I'm always amazed at the cost. It was $25,000 back in 1954. We don't see those kind of numbers anymore. That library was expanded in 1988 and again in 2019. You can see the additions there. And lastly, our C.B. Hildebrand Public Library. It started in 1997 in the community center in Hildebrand. And I've mentioned before, we have that distinction of being the only library I know of that had its own swimming pool. A few years later, I think in 2015, we moved to a temporary location that was just adjacent to what would become our permanent home in the East Burke Library Senior Center. And just to let you all know, we still get many, many compliments from Hildebrand residents about this facility. They're very proud of it and use it quite a bit. So what kind of services do we offer at the library? Well, we offer traditional information services, reference assistance in person, by telephone, or online. Circulation services, you can come and get a library card. We'll show you how to use our online catalog. We are a member of the NC Cardinal Public Library Consortium. That's over 60 public libraries across the state. And through their resource sharing, our customers have access not only to the Burke County Public Library collection, but also to the over 7 million items that those other libraries have. So that's a great resource for our community. Our North Carolina room, great resource for local history and genealogy. We're very proud of our Picture Burke project. Over the years, they have digitized over 7,000 photographs about Burke County. That's one there of the School for the Deaf that they have done. Internet, we offer internet at all 3 of our sites. We have 35 public computers that have internet, and then we have Wi-Fi at all of our locations. Technology, we offer classes in hardware and software. We have software applications on our public computers, Microsoft Office, and staff will also offer software and hardware assistance as they are able to. Documents, if you need to print or copy, we have those resources for you. We still have fax machines around for people that use that. You can also scan documents at the library. E-books have become very popular. We have a great collection of e-books at all of our sites, EINC, NC Kids. If you download the Libby app from Overdrive on your phone or tablet, and you have a library card, you can access thousands and thousands of e-books. Our website is another excellent resource to find out all the programs that we offer, access to our online resources, information about when libraries are open and when they're located. Collections. Libraries still are all about books. And we have lots of collections. We have adult collections, fiction and nonfiction. This is a new collection we've started for college-age folks, again, fiction and nonfiction books. Our traditional young adult collection, chosen for those of a high school age. If you're a parent, you have used the e-books, the picture books, the easy readers in our juvenile collections. Large print, yeah, if you're my age and you have to have readers, you appreciate larger print in books. Again, the North Carolina room, excellent resource for local history and genealogy. Audio visuals, we have audio books on CD. We have e-audio books that you can download again to your tablet or phone, DVDs, and also e-video. And lastly, periodicals. We still have print newspapers and print magazines. Through the Libby app on Overdrive, you have access to over 400 digital magazines that you can download to your phone or your tablet. Now, going back to our mission statement, we're trying to make people's lives better, and sometimes, you wonder how you can measure that easily. Numbers are a great way, but another good way, I think, is just to look at faces at our programs. This is one of our children's story times. All look pretty happy to me. This is a young adult summer reading kickoff program on the front lawn at Morganton. Have lots of kids participate in our summer reading programs. Fire trucks are always popular. We've got a young fireman here gearing up. We have a diverse culture in Burke County, and we like to celebrate that with our Taste of Culture programs. And we are more than just books. We've done a lot of outdoor activities over the years. This is a rock climbing wall that we took to the Valdez Public Library. STEM activities are very, very important. We have those activities for all ages at all sites. Lots of problem solving and hard thinking going on there. And sometimes it does get a little bit messy, but I think kids really have a fun time with those activities. Black History Celebration every February at the Morganton Public Library, the Gathering of the People. We've hosted that for many, many years, and we always have a great turnout for that program. The ASU Steel Drum Band over the years has been a great draw for our outdoor music series. And we do a lot of programming off-site. This is a craft program we had during the summer at Catawba Meadows Park. We incorporate a lot of art and music into our activities at the library. This young lady did a very nice painting. Anytime we have animal programs, they draw a huge crowd. Two things you can count on, animals and food. And this is a great animal program. This was the Snakes Alive program a couple of years ago, and they are all looking at a 14-foot Burmese python stretched across the width of the library. As a library, yes, we do have authors. We've had best-selling authors come to the library, Beth Revis, Sharon McCrone. The library staff feel like it's important to give back to the community, and for the past several years, they've done a Bumble Tree service project where they collect items for area care center residents. And I think last year we provided over 100 bags to area care centers. Our Library Foundation is involved with our outreach programs. On the left is an example of one of the Little Free Libraries that they support throughout the county. I believe they have 4. They also sponsor a story walk at Catawba Meadows Park, and I am in the process of putting out a new story. I hope to have that finished by the end of the week. We do a lot of programming at the library. We average 1,300 programs a year with an attendance of at least 26,000. On the left, you can see an example of our programming calendar, and for adults, young adults, and kids, and you can see it's very, very full. And I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Jim. I think I can speak for all the commissioners to say we understand, and we're all proud of the library system, what y'all have done and accomplished in your staff. Gentlemen, questions, comments? If not, what's the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept Jim's report as presented and approve proclamation number 2023-10.
Thank you, Commissioner Carswell. All those in favor signify with the uplifted hand. Motion carried 5-0.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Gentlemen, that'll bring us to item number 7, scheduled public hearings. Item number 1 under scheduled public hearings, request to name road off Berkmont Avenue and hold a public hearing. This is presented by Scott Black, our IT director. Scott, how are you, sir?
Doing well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So I'm coming tonight, the first one is a request to name a road off of Berkmont Avenue. So back in July, Mark Cox contacted our department about possibly naming this road. He was interested in doing some development back in the subdivision there, I believe on this parcel, this is Magnolia Place right there. And when we started looking at it, we realized that all these lots back here were addressed off of Berkmont Avenue. And they all essentially had the same address, 1238, with a unit designator, A, B, C, so forth. So looking at that, we didn't have enough room to create any more addresses off Berkmont Avenue, so it came to the point it's just necessary for us to name this road so we can give each of these lots of here individual addresses. So we ended up sending out letters to all the property owners, asking them to send back to us proposed road names. We got back several road names. Pollard Drive received 2 votes. Magnolia Place, 1 vote. Wild Daisy Way, also 1 vote. And then today I got a call from Mr. Alfredo Garcia, who recently purchased 4 of the lots on this road. This lot here back in July, and then in the end of September, he bought this lot, this one, and this one here. And there's only 2 houses out there on the bottom 2 right now. The other 2 are vacant. And he had also requested a road name, and I've got it here. He proposed one that's Garris Lane, and he was going to comment public hearing tonight. So we've got 4 proposed road names for that, and I've got any questions you have?
Thank you, Scott. Gentlemen, comments, questions? All right. We'll then hold a public hearing. I'll now open the public hearing. Is there anyone here to wish to speak to this issue? Come forward, please, sir. If you could just please state your name and address, please, sir.
I'm Bruce Pollard, 1238 Burkmont Avenue. As the next week, I'll be living there 51 years on that road. I helped pave it, paid for most of the pavement halfway out. But anyway, I'd like to consider my name Pollard Avenue, and maybe if that don't fly, maybe Magnolia. So that's the two I prefer, Magnolia and Pollard Avenue. I'd like you to consider those, if you would, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pollard. Please come forward, sir, and state your name and address.
Yes, my name is Alfredo Garcia. I live in 202 Shady Rest Road, Morganton. I have not a request, but other word to say. Okay, we just purchased this land with my family. Thanks for God, we bought a house 4 years ago and we pay off. And I'm trying to teach my kids how to be successful in this country. Thanks God, this country is very successful, if that's what you want. So now we are going to our dream house. So we just purchased a land, the 1238B. That's a single mobile right there. We was planning to build our house, but fortunately, one of the other property become back on the market, and our contract became to that property. So we purchased those two property. That's 3 in total. We have 15 acres of land right there. So our plan with our family is to build our family community right there. We just invest over $500,000 on those properties. So that's how we was coming to say, why not put it our family name right there on calling Garris Lane or 4J Drive. That's what we was done with the family. I know I respect the others. They name what they want. But right there, if you see the road, it's go from the Brookmont all the way to where the road you can see on the 1238 where it say Nordic Response. That's where the road will go all the way. So that's where we're planning to build houses, because we have easement line right there. So it's be good to build other houses right there. So that's be good for us if we start building. Our plan is to start building house maybe in next 2 to 3 years. So we want to request that if that's possible. We appreciate. I appreciate with my family whatever decision you take.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak on this issue? If not, then I'll close the public hearing. Gentlemen, it's the pleasure of the board.
Mr. Chairman, listening to this and having reviewed the material, I would be hard pressed not to name the road for someone who's lived there for 51 years. But I do think that since he's conceded Magnolia Place would be a second option, I would be okay with either of those two.
Any other comments? If not, is that?
Excuse me, I can't talk good yet, but I agree with Mr. Burns. I would be hard pressed not to vote for Pollard Avenue or Drive. I heard Avenue, and we have it written down here Pollard Drive. So I guess what's on the agenda would be Mr. Pollard, I believe, said Pollard Avenue, but Pollard Drive is fine with me either one.
He said Pollard Drive or Magnolia Place. For clarity. We have a motion on the floor.
Mr. Chairman, I just throw in my 2 cents. I haven't heard the information, and I believe that Magnolia is a kind of a common name for the area, and since that seems to be acceptable to at least Mr. Pollard. I think maybe since we have the other surnames that might, like their consideration, maybe Magnolia would be a better answer. That's my 2 cents.
Other comments? If not, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the road name Magnolia Place.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Those against? Motion carried, 4-1. Madam Clerk, Commissioner Smith. Consent, yes. This will bring us to item number 2, request to name road off of Mineral Springs Mountain Road and hold a public hearing. It's once again presented by our friends Scott Black.
Mr. Chairman. Okay, so earlier this year, we were contacted again by Paul and Leslie Huffman, who live here at the end of the road, this property up here, about naming this road that comes off of Mineral Springs Mountain Road. It's highlighted in yellow there, you can see on the map. Here's Mineral Springs Mountain comes in, and then part we're proposing to name is this area right here. Now, the first little part of it, is the solid yellow line, is actually already state maintained. In the NCDOT database, they listed as no-name road. We don't actually have a road name officially assigned to it. I think they just had to have a name in the system that they put it in. And then the remaining portion, we would give the whole road obviously the same name for consistency there. So that's the area that we're proposing to get named. Again, we sent letters out to the property owners. Looking at this, it's such a long road. There are 5 houses out here right now that would be affected by the road name change. So far off the road, it just became very apparent to us that for emergency response, making sure that these folks are found quickly if there is an emergency response need, was our reasoning by saying that this is something that really needs to come through and get this road named. So they have submitted 2 names, Guy Lale Road and Briar Creek Road. And that's what we're bringing forward tonight to decide.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Jim, any questions or comments? One second, sir. Then we do need to hold a public hearing, so I will now open the public hearing. Anyone wish to speak on this issue? Please come forward, sir.
I live down, my name's David Gooden. I've lived down there for 35 years. And the road has always been Briar Creek, as far as I know, went through there. That was the old road come from Valdez, went across there. And the reason why was the bridge, down Miller Bridge, was to keep them from crossing the river. They went through there by my house. And that's what I've always known it as, and I kind of like to keep it that way. But I understand there's another road named Briar Creek somewhere in Burke County. So me and my friends wanted to go to Briar Patch if we could. But, and that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else here wish to speak on this issue? Please come forward.
My name is Michael Huffman, and I live at 5242 Mineral Springs Mountain Road. When we started with all this, we came to an agreement on the road name of Briar Creek Road. When it came time to sign the paperwork, people backed out. So we decided that we would go ahead with Guy Lale Road because that's what we initially wanted. I'm all right with Briar Creek Road. I have no problem with that. But if it's going to be Briar anything, I don't really agree on Briar Patch, but I'm okay with Briar Creek.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Briar Creek is,
Please step forward, Scott.
Briar Creek is good. I've checked it. It's a,
So it's a
it
viable
won't
name?
cause a conflict.
It
with
won't
anything.
cause 911 issues or anything like that? Okay, thank you, sir. Is there anyone else here that wishes to speak on this issue? Please come forward. Please state your name.
My name is Jeff Curtis, and I live at 5252 Mineral Springs Mountain Road. My largest concern with Briar Creek Road is if you go onto like Google Maps right now, and you were to look at Briar Creek Road, it's basically unlike Google Maps and stuff, it will say it's my road, my private driveway. If you go onto Google Maps and you type in Briar Creek, it will show my road as that being a road. And I do have concern that if it is named Briar Creek Road, that what's going to wind up happening is because, like, and I've been trying to contact Google Maps for years now to try to get them to, like, recognize where all these addresses are, and they never update it. And my concern is that somebody would type that in thinking that our road is not just a private road, that it's actually the road that the address would be on. And that's my biggest concern with keeping it as Briar Creek. Now, you said that there is not a road in Burke County named Briar Creek? Okay.
Any other comments, sir?
We would prefer it not to be Guy Lale Road.
For it not be Guy Well?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Who else wishes to speak on this issue? Please come forward.
My name is Jennifer Curtis. I live at 5252 Mineral Springs Mountain Road. I would prefer not to change the address. I had 120 guests at my house this spring. I gave them my address. They all showed up. We all collectively put big signs up at the end of the road, and everybody seems to make it to my house just fine. I would prefer not to have Guy Lale Road. There's already 3 other Lale roads near us. It gets confusing. People who aren't from this area aren't going to know how to spell Lale, so you're going to have a difficulty spelling it. The post office told me there is another Briar Creek, so I would be fine with Briar Patch. That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak on this issue? And Scott, just for clarity, if you wouldn't mind, sir, as far as any confusion with Google Maps, post office, those type of issues, and that be straightened out?
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at Google Maps. I have seen that it does have that Briar Creek listed in there. Normally when I do an address change, I'll submit error reports to Google Maps, trying to get them to correct it. Again, it's a private company. I can ask all I can, and I encourage other residents in areas, if there are errors, to submit error reports to them. And eventually, they usually do get it fixed. So we'll work hard to get that done.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak on this issue?
I guess I'd like to propose, is there an option to just keep it as Mineral Springs Mountain Road? Or is that completely off the table? Is that possible to be proposed to not change it?
That has not been proposed at this time, sir.
I mean, that's my preference. It's hassle to change your address. And it's the post, I talked to the people at the post office, and they said it's a hassle on their behalf too. And I don't see a real reason that we really even need to change the address. So if we don't need to do it, then I'd propose not to change it at all. But that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am?
My name is Leslie Huffman, and I live at 5242 Mineral Springs Mountain Road. We wanted it changed because at 5240, my husband's aunt lives there. We had an emergency. They had no clue how to get to our house. When we said 5240 Mineral Springs Mountain Road, they couldn't find it. We had to give them directions. If we had a road name, it'd be much easier for them to find it if there was an incident again. Hopefully there won't be. But that was the whole reason for even wanting the road name. She's lived there since the 50s, I think, and it's her husband, Galileo, is the reason we wanted it, Galileo Road.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to this issue? Please come forward, ma'am.
Hi, thank you. My name is Debbie Goodman. I live at 5260 Mineral Springs Mountain Road. I agree with Jeff. We really don't want the road changed at all. We like it just the way it is. We've had no problems. I've been there 25 years. Everybody's found us when they need to. So I'm with it, leaving it the way it is. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else wish to speak on this issue? Please come forward and speak at the lectern, sir. Thank you, sir.
Donnie Walker. I live at 5230 Mineral Springs Mountain Road. And I've lived there 30 years, and I'd rather for it not to be just stay like it is. No road. No name road. Just keep it like it is. That's my opinion.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else?
Mr. Chairman, if I might interject and ask Scott to come back. Scott, help us understand. I thought I understood. Mineral Springs Mountain Road proper, maybe you can use the corner.
Yes.
Doesn't it?
So Mineral Springs Mountain Road proper runs north-south right here. And we're at the intersection with Royal Church Road. So this road turns off and comes back in. And that's the main reasoning for proposing that this private drive be named, or actually partially state named and partially private. Because it is really a different road. And typically, we look at when there are 3 or more houses off a private drive. That's the point at which we recommend that it be named. You know, it's doubtful that it's going to be much further development here, but there are some vacant parcels that could have future addressing in there. So there's enough room in there. We don't have the kind of numbering issue like we did on the other street, but for addresses off Mineral Springs. But I think just for 911 purposes, to just make it more clear for emergency responders that this is a separate road off of Mineral Springs Mountain Road, it would be beneficial.
Any other questions for Scott? You have to come forward, sir. Please come back up to the lectern.
That's all right.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Carter?
I'm gonna wait for you to close the public hearing.
Any other questions? All right, and now we'll close the public hearing. Gentlemen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Scott, I'd like for you to come back up again. I want to take a little deeper dive.
Yes, sir.
If started, but I want to know how's this going to enhance 911? I heard somebody say that if somebody has some trouble with 911 trying to find the address up there. I'm very familiar with this whole area up there. So how do we have it in 911 right now?
Well, right now it's in Mineral Springs Mountain Road. And, you know, the addresses show up on the map as Mineral Springs Mountain Road. They'll geolocate, I think that was here, so, you know, you can comment to that. It's mapping appropriately, so there's nothing broken with 911 at this point.
Okay.
We leave it, that doesn't break anything. Everybody can stay like this.
Does it enhance anything?
I think that personally, I think that it would make, because it is such a long road. I mean, it's half a mile back in there, that having a unique road name would just make more clarity all of it.
Okay. That's all I've got.
Gentlemen, any other questions for Scott? If not, what's the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, thank you all for coming. I heard a lot from both sides. I'm trying to develop in my mind which would be best for the county as far as 911, getting a fire truck and an ambulance to your residence. That concerns me more than anything else. And I don't know that there's been a whole lot of confusion, but from what I'm hearing tonight, I think you all would be comfortable with one or the other. So I think I'm ready to make a motion to name the road Briar Creek Road. That'd be my motion.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Carswell. All those in favor of the motion, signify with uplifted hand. 5-0. Thank you, Scott. Gentlemen, that'll bring us to item number 8, informal public comments. Madam Clerk, do we have anybody that wishes to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is Bruce Irvin here tonight?
I
Okay.
have not seen Bruce. And I will remind everybody that each speaker is limited to 3 minutes.
Dr. Courtney Mull? I'm Dr. Courtney Mull, and we live in Oak Hill. And a year before George Floyd and the word woke became weaponized, my personal family finally started coming together. And I think people think adoptive families are created like picking a cereal box at the grocery store. But for ours, 20 years of being childless led me reading the Bible cover to cover a couple times to finally understand the faith of my childhood, that God's ways are higher than mine and they're better. So when the time came to adopt, I could trust that He knew the family name for me from the moment of my creation, and I didn't need to try to box Him in and say I need a boy or a girl or this specific race. And 6 months later, my oldest child's birth mother recognized me as being worthy of being the mom for her baby. And a year and a half ago, my youngest child's birth mother also recognized me that same way. And I recognized both of those women as family as well. And race had nothing to do with that. Love brought our family together. And God made children perfect, and I love mine desperately. And I want them to want to live in Burke County when they grow up. And I want Burke County to deserve them. So today I want to talk about guilt and the argument I hear of we don't want to teach or talk about the past because we don't want our children feeling guilty for something they didn't do, because we love our children. But guilt is less damaging than fear or terror, sadness or grief, alienation, frustration, anger, and we've ensured that kids of color have felt those emotions for centuries. If you love children, you love all children, and you would care about both sides. When the Bible talks about remembrance, it talks about remembering His covenant with us. He commands against false idols, and as difficult as the teaching is, Christ Himself taught to let the dead bury the dead. And I recognize how challenging that passage is. I have family that I love that have passed on, but we're called to love Him with our whole being and our neighbors as ourselves. And love means listening to their experiences and their pain and not gaslighting it. And if the cost of love and listening means holding a negative emotion within us, we can do that. We can honor that emotion and process it. The cost of love is worth paying. I want to thank this board for allowing your community to speak our heart with you. Thank you for that. I ask that you ask that you change our city square to reflect our heart and relocate the monument. Thank you.
Thank you.
Miss Carla Kincaid?
Good evening to all. I'm here in reference to the Confederate statue as well. And as I've been throughout the neighborhood and Rock Hill Cemetery, I've had to interview some of my ancestors, my relatives who are now 90 and close to 100 that can remember some of the personal stories that they were either told or they experienced. And one was really significant to me. They now reside in Charlotte. And some of the people move away because it does make a difference of statues or whatever that lingers in this county as well as others. After interviewing actually relatives were able to share memories of the Confederate soldier stories. And I think I did share that with you once, as far as my father telling me about his father, who was a great man, Allen Fullwood, who was a big man in the Linville area or the Fonto, Florida area, and about the Confederate soldiers who came in the house, and they could just bust through the doors anytime they got ready. Well, I heard another story, same kind of story, that was told by one of my relatives, and she recalls Paul also telling her when he had to hide her as they come bursting through the doors under the floor, afraid that they were going to take her. And she continued to tell me about what we would call the smokehouses. And smokehouse, and that's where you hung your meat and your food. Also them going back there and torching that and burning. That happened here in Burke County, Linville area, Fonto, Florida area. I'm not speaking of a story who happened anywhere else. And as I continue, I've got some other people also to interview. But we do have some personal stories in reference to the soldiers themselves. And I was also reading where, yes, the soldiers did not own slaves, but they did one day hope to be a slave owner because the slave owners in this area lived more comfortably than others. And also when we see that statue, that's what I think of. And I hope that one day I'll be able to have the pleasure of enjoying that square. I haven't been able to enjoy the square. I haven't been there since the new amphitheater because it's not a good remembrance as far as for me, because we were never taught. We were never taught exactly who this guy is standing there. And I just wonder what other things that the soldiers were able to do and to terrorize the people in this neighborhood and in Burke County itself. And I'm sure, you know, we're not speaking of a courthouse, which we knew probably a lot of things happened in that courthouse as well that wasn't good at all, not for us. And so as I continue, you know, I just want to come and continue to stand here in honor and in memory of my ancestors as we continue to do our work and project on the Rock Hill Cemetery there. So just know that's what that statue can impose on people of today. Not everyone but me.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
I think that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, gentlemen. That'll bring us to item number 9, consent agenda. I'll ask our county manager to review those, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Fairly concise consent agenda for consideration this evening. Item 1 is from our clerk's office. It's a request to reappoint a member of the jury commission as outlined in your packet. Item 2, for our Parks and Recreation Commission, this request is to remove or accept the resignation from one member and to replace that member to serve the remaining portion of that term. Item 3, also an appointment or a modification to an appointed board. This is a request to reduce the membership of the East Burke Senior Center Advisory Board to 5 members. Item 4 is your monthly tax collection report that was presented during your pre-agenda meeting for September 2023. And item 5 is your monthly release and refund, also from the tax department for September 2023. Each of those are in your packet. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Happ. Gentlemen, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Madam Clerk, that is 5-0. Thank you, sir. That brings us to items for decision. Item number 1 under items for decision, approval of real property presented by Mr. Epley, our county manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As the board's aware, over the last few weeks, we've been evaluating a piece of real property adjacent to this building, across the street up just a little bit, 201 Avery Avenue. And as you're all aware, we believe we've successfully negotiated and we're seeking approval to finalize that acquisition. The purchase price was $575,000 with a little bit of closing costs. The total was $576,500. $563.04. It's about 5,000 square feet, so it's roughly $115 a square foot. And we think that's advantageous given the construction market and the space compression issues that we're seeing around county government. That building will be home to Adult Protective Services for DSS, which is about 15 or 16 employees. They're currently sharing space with General Services, the tax department, planning, permitting. It is not suitable for a long-term solution, and we think this space will offer a better intake opportunity for folks to come in and make reports, as well as a better working environment for our employees at a very advantageous price. So seeking that approval tonight, happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. Gentlemen, I know we've all had an opportunity to review this material, so any further questions or comments? If not, what's the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the purchase contract in the amount of $576,563.04 between John Hood and Burke County for real property located at 201 Avery Avenue, Morgan.
Thank you, Commissioner Britton. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Motion carried 5-0, Madam Clerk. That'll bring us item number 2 under items for decision. Project Unix bid award for installation of water and sewer lines at Burke Business Park. This will be presented by Benji Thomas, professional engineer from West Consulting. How are you, sir?
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Pleased to be with you tonight. It's been a pleasure to work with the county and Mr. Allen Wood with BDI and others on this project. This will be to extend the City of Morganton water and sewer utilities to the pad where the Unix building is under construction at the moment. So our office worked to prepare the plans and specifications, acquire the permits, and handle the bidding process. And 3 bids were received, as noted in the report. And the lowest bid was received by Double R Utilities Incorporated out of Gaffney, South Carolina. As a reputable firm, it's been around for a long time. And their low bid amount was $713,833.15, which is within budget. And so we do recommend award, excuse me, to this contractor. Excuse me. And I spoke to them, and they would be able to start as soon as contracted. Their first step would be to order the materials and probably be about 8 weeks to receive those materials. So we're looking at a completion date somewhere around April 1st, which I understand from Mr. Wood would be well within the window we have to make sure water and sewer is available to the Unix building. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions and do recommend award to this contractor.
Thank you, Benji. Gentlemen, questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, this is a thing that has bothered me for years. When I read the summary, and it says the bid appears to be complete. Is it complete or is it not?
Okay, I'll take responsibility for that. That's my choice of words. It is complete, yes, sir.
It is complete. That's all I need to know. Thank you, sir.
Gentlemen, other questions? If not, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to award a bid in the amount of $713,833.15 to Double R Utilities Incorporated of Gaffney, South Carolina for construction of new water and sewer lines at the Burke Business Park.
And,
hang on one more second. Let me pull it up here. And authorize the county manager to execute the agreement and other project documentation on behalf of the board, subject to review and or revision by the county attorney.
thank you, Commissioner Carswell. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Motion carried 5-0. Thank you, Benji. Thanks for all y'all do. Appreciate it. Gentlemen, that'll bring us to decision item number 3, General Services RFQ for infrastructure projects related to sewer system design and construction. This will be presented by Mr. Epney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it's appropriate, following the Unix water sewer utility infrastructure, to pair that with a continuation of the criticalness. As we just saw, this $700,000 plus water line extension is going to provide jobs, going to provide tax base, and it is a pathway for economic development. We know that water and sewer not only propels that, but it also supports housing and all of the critical infrastructure build out that we need for development. I also have Mark Gallant here with me as to present in case there's technical questions, and I continue to just be impressed with his hard work and innovative thought process as we really take, I think, a very meaningful step forward in better understanding our own county operated system for water and for sewer. So briefly, I'll describe what we believe our project scope is. Over the last few weeks, as the board's well aware, we have navigated through an RFQ process that we ultimately believe will give us meaningful information to better understand and manage water, sewer, the full system in Burke County. We'll talk briefly about what we've done over the last couple of weeks from a procurement process perspective, and then model a potential timeline. So the first thing that I would say, it's important to recognize that the Water Sewer Fund in Burke County is an enterprise fund, and that is a technical term that really, in essence, means that it's different. It's a user fee supported function of local government. It's not supported with property tax. It's not supported with sales tax. It's a production based, much more similar to a private business, meaning the fees that it charges for consumers to use the product is intended to support the operational cost of the service. Burke County has two funds like this, solid waste and water sewer. Water sewer is what we're focusing on tonight. And the challenge is, in this world, the cost of operating the business has grown substantially in recent times. Material cost, lead times, as Benji just said, 8 weeks to get materials, and he could attest with other clients he works on, at $100 plus a linear foot to lay pipe. It is an incredibly expensive venture, but also important. And so we're trying to find the balance of what is the path forward here. And you can see here where I've shown just over the last 5 years how our revenues compared to the expenditures in that fund, and because the system isn't growing, that really creates a challenge. Here I've broken it down a little bit more to show consumption gallons, both on the water side of about 106,000, on the sewer side of about 111,000, total number of customers, which is one of the bigger problems that we have, is just the size of our system. In 2020, we had 2,170 customers. In 22, we had 2,175. Not substantial growth there. And we have a lot of passings in this world. We call it passings, where we're going by potential consumers who aren't using the product. And we have the capital cost of putting the infrastructure in the ground, but not the return in revenue, which again is a challenge to the system. Same thing, same kind of concept there on the sewer side. So the business model and just the system in total, as important as it is, we're trying to better understand how we may improve that, and we think that we can. That's what led us to issue this RFQ. We think that the solution is to sometimes to start at the end, and we want to put together really a 10-year comprehensive water supply and sewage system plan that provides things like rate stabilization and forecasting, detailed mapping, infrastructure conditions, expansion opportunities, in-source, outsource contracting, because we're a purchase water and purchase sewer system, and really try to piece all those things together with an objective professional services consultant. We think we can do that really in 3 ways, and that's the way this RFQ is designed. The first one, as you all heard about for many, many years, I think for the last 3 or 4 years, and it's included in your capital improvement plan, is the pump lift station at Indian Hills. That lift station basically is the hinge point for all sewer flow in eastern Burke County that sends that waste to Hickory, and it has been failing for some time. It's a very expensive repair, somewhere in the $2 to $2.5 million framework. We are a finalist in a BRIC grant, which is a federal emergency management grant that would cover the cost of that, and we're optimistic that we're going to be successful. But I think that's one example of how such an important critical junction in our system is deteriorating, and the cost to repair and replace is so excessive. But the RFQ would provide for this engineering service to help us really size and fit, as well as design the construction package to repair that. The second phase would be a full-blown AIA study on the water side and the sewer side, which includes mapping and GIS layering. This is everything from flow tests to see if we have leaks, to people crawling down in manholes to see what size pipe we have. This is the full-blown system so that we can report back to our board what our system looks like in totality. And then lastly, once we have this massive amount of data compilation and we're more prepared to make data-driven decisions, we think that we can have more of a comprehensive system evaluation to make long-term decisions that are programmed and predictable in outcome. So to arrive at that, I mentioned that we wanted to recruit a partner, and so we've selected this professional services RFQ model to do that. We have a qualifications-based RFQ that's been posted. Once that is considered by this board and awarded, we'll move to more of a detailed project scope development process and ultimately a contract that the board would consider at that time. So we put together our team based on these deliverables that you've now seen a couple of times in an RFQ selection process. We ranked and interviewed not only a deliverable, an application that these firms turned in, but we also put together a review panel led by Mark and his team last week, and very pleased with how professionally they ran that. Scoring in these ways was kind of a weighted average. We had 3 responsive firms, all of which were highly credible, highly professional, good resumes, good working examples. But you can see the scores down at the bottom. Willis Engineering, by far and away, was the highest performing firm. We've spoke to Willis Engineering. They'll be the recommended firm to move forward in this partnership. If we issue and award the RFQ tonight, we're looking at an 8 to 9 month deliverable. So we're talking early summer 2024. And obviously there'll be milestones along the way. It's not like we're just going to go away for 9 months and come back with this massive amount of information. So there'll be a lot of progress reports and a lot of decisions along the way. But that just gives you a grand scope of kind of the timeline through the project. So Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have about this, but I do see it as a monumental transformational opportunity for our system. And I'd like to make the recommendation that we partner with Willis Engineers to conduct these consulting services.
Thank you, Mr. Apple. Gentlemen, questions, comments?
Brian, do you have any idea what the cost of this may be?
So a typical AIA study may be anywhere from $75,000 to $125,000 for water and for sewer. As you're all aware, we were fortunate enough to be awarded an allocation of $500,000 in the state budget to cover the analysis. So the local cost will be zero. There will be no local dollars involved in awarding it. And because of when we made the request, we had a compartmentalized budget that backed into the $500,000 so that we can do all of the components, including the construction documents and all those type of things to go with Indian Hills. So local cost zero of the state allocation. The cost will likely be the vast majority of that allocation. Don't have a hard number at this point, obviously, but we'll bring that back at the time we finalize the negotiations.
Any other questions, comments, gentlemen?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. County Manager, what's the timeline on the grant? When will we know about the
For
grant?
the grid grant on Indian Hills, a couple weeks. We literally checked on it today. I think I got an email while we were sitting here, as a matter of fact. If that grant isn't awarded, there is still dollars allocated in the capital improvement plan. So it is still a project that can advance with the support of the board.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the last 12 years, I've said we need to either get in it or get out of it. We've just dilly-dallied around with it. And I'm glad to see that we're trying to probably get into water sewer business. My next question is it possible that the number of people that's on the system will grow if we provide an adequate water and sewer system?
I think that's the question we're trying to answer. That's the $1 million question, is what is the cost of expansion or acquisition? We think we need about 785 more customers to make our system fluid. So, you know, what are the routes that we can spur off our existing system to gather that type of population density? That's a good question. What's the cost of that type of expansion? That's the next good question. And how does all of that upfront capital compare to an elongated return? I think our average water customer pays $48 a month. So you can see when you're investing millions of dollars, that takes a pretty tremendous economies of scale to create the return. I think more so than anything, to your point, Commissioner, this will help this board make a really solid data-driven decision about should we or should we not look to expand this system or look to maybe regionalize with some other partners long term.
And let's clarify, I hope that's not $1 million question, I hope it's a $500,000 question.
Yes, the study will be less than
You do
$500,000.
agree, Jeff, correct?
Yes, yes. Well said.
Any other questions, comments, gentlemen?
I just personally think, again, we've been in, like I say, looking at this for a long, long time. I would like for us to keep the system. I don't want to partner with anybody on this. Don't know what we get if we partnered with somebody else on this. I don't know. When I'm depending on somebody else, it's just like where we purchase water now from a lot of different people. I'd like to see us do it ourselves, keep as much as we can in-house where we can have the control over it. In-house is always a whole lot better than trying to work with sometimes with an unknown partner. I just want to mention that.
No, I totally agree, and I think by saying that you know, the impact that it has on housing, the impact it has on economic development, the impact that it has on growth in general, is a strong argument for having that control, as you said, putting your infrastructure where your priorities and where your planning and zoning code and all those type of things synchronized together. So I think you're exactly right.
Anything else, gentlemen? If not, what's the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move to authorize the county manager to negotiate and enter into a contract with Willis Engineers as presented, subject to review and or revision by the county attorney. If an agreement cannot be reached with the recommended firm, the county manager is authorized to negotiate and contract with the second or third ranked firms.
Thank you, Commissioner Britton. All those in favor signify with an uplifted hand. Motion carried 5-0, Madam Clerk. That brings us to the last item for decision, Veteran Services Resolution in support of Operation Greenlight, presented by Molly Eller, our Veteran Services Officer. How are you? Very patient.
There it is. Wonderful. Thank you, Commissioners, for the opportunity to share Operation Greenlight with you today. Operation Greenlight is an opportunity for Burke County and to join our colleagues across North Carolina and across the nation to participate in an initiative to shine a light on the service of our veterans. Operation Greenlight is also an opportunity to raise awareness of resources available to veterans and their families. For 1 week in November, that includes Veterans Day, we would like to illuminate as many Burke County-owned buildings with green lights, the same as we did last year. Additionally, we would like to extend an invitation to the whole community to encourage their participation as well. Here's a few pictures from last year that I would like to share. So on the left, we have the City of Morganton Public Safety Center, all lit up in green. On the right, there's Morganton Savings Bank, all lit up in green. On the left, there's the Burke County Public Schools, and on the right also, they decided to go with the lamps in the hallways, which looks amazing on the ceiling there with the reflection. And so Operation Greenlight runs from November 6th through November 12th of 2023. Thank you. So today I am here to ask this Board of Commissioners to adopt the resolution and declare November 6th through November 12th as a time to recognize our Burke County veterans with this Operation Greenlight project. I welcome any questions.
Thank you, Molly. Gentlemen, any questions, comments?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to clarify the reason I wanted this in the form of a presentation tonight was to bring more awareness.
And I appreciate that. Thank you.
I actually ordered my bulbs last week, so they should be ready for my house. Not that I live in a place where a lot of people's going to see my house, but I'm very grateful to have an opportunity to shine the spotlight on this.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Any other questions, comments, gentlemen?
And as a veteran, I totally appreciate that. Several veterans are here tonight. We do appreciate that very, very much. I enjoyed last year's green light, and Randy, I'm gonna drive down to your house and see your green light.
Gentlemen, any other questions, comments? Gentlemen, what's the board's pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt Resolution 2023-20.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. Motion carried, 5-0. Thanks again, Molly. Gentlemen, this will bring us to section 11, reports and comments. And we will start with our county finance officer,
No comments tonight, thank you, though.
Mr. County Attorney.
Nothing from me tonight, thank you.
Madam Clerk.
No comments, thanks.
Well, 0 for 3.
I'm
Mr.
good.
County Manager.
I'm good too, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Smith.
I do want to say that I'm glad we're going to do some work down there at Indian Hills and get that all straightened out, because the people of Eastern Burke County, they need good services down there, and the rest of us do too.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Burns.
Yeah, gosh, there's so much that happened this week that was pretty cool. I was fortunate enough to attend the opening ceremony of the Oak Hill Community Trail off of 126. We had a check presentation since our last meeting for the mega site that borders Burke and McDowell County. There's just a tremendous lot of stuff that's happening. I've had great committee meetings. I do want to make the board aware that the first week in November I will be attending the Western Piedmont Council of Governments National Conference in Cleveland, Ohio. So I will be out of touch, but not out of touch for about 4 days there. And I just want to acknowledge this October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And thank you. That's about all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Burns. Vice Chair Britton. Mr. Carswell.
I want to echo what Randy said about October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and I think everybody remembers over the years that I've said here. My mother died with breast cancer. My youngest sister-in-law died with breast cancer, and my wife is a breast cancer survivor. So thank you, gentlemen, all for wearing pink. I appreciate that, and what we can do in this arena. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner Carswell. And we'll make a remark, and I think I've told most of you, but maybe not all of you, that with the mega site, we've already started to get attention for that. Got a call from a show in Raleigh that's held on Spectrum 1, and Johnny was familiar with it, and apparently it's a public affairs show, and we sat down with her, well, Zoomed it, I wasn't driving to Raleigh, but we Zoomed it with Alan Woods today with her, and also the county manager from Chatham County, who is currently got an automobile manufacturer coming to his mega site. And so it was a good show, and we were well represented, and just wanted to make y'all aware of that. So lots of good things happening in Burke County. Well, some courtesy reminders, gentlemen. October 19th, one-stop early voting begins for the municipal elections. Please remember to bring your ID with you to the polls. November 5th, the Centennial, as we were presented earlier from Jim, Morganton Public Library from 2 to 5 p.m. 204 South King Street, and that's a drop-in open house, so that'll be fun. November 7th, Election Day, get out and vote. The Board of Commissioners pre-agenda meeting will be held at 3 p.m. that day. November 10th, county offices will be closed for Veterans Day. November 11th, Burke County Veterans Day event starts at 11 a.m. in the Foothills Education Building. November 21st, Board of Commissioner regular meeting at 6 p.m. November 23rd and 24th, county office closure for Thanksgiving. It's hard to believe that's already here. And I would, as always, remind everyone to please spay or neuter your pets, foster or adopt a pet from Burke County Animal Services. And as we repeatedly have said for years, please cover your loads to the convenience centers and the landfill and pick up trash if you see it, please. And That's all I have, gentlemen. So vacancy announcements, item number 12. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, members of the audience. We have the following opportunities for citizens to be involved in county boards and committees. The Adult Care and Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee, City of Morganton Board of Adjustment and Planning Board for the ETJ, Burke Senior Center Advisory Council, East Burke Senior Center Advisory Board, Council on Aging, Burke County Health Department, Hickory Regional Planning Commission, Drexel Planning Board ETJ alternate, and the Burke County Veterans Service Board.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I would encourage everyone that wants to get involved, please get involved. And call Kay. As I always say, she will put you to work because there's plenty of opportunities to get involved and help your fellow citizens in Burke County. Gentlemen, at this time, there is no need for a closed session, so that moves us toward adjournment. Is there a motion to adjourn these proceedings?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Britton. All those in favor signify with uplifted hand. And I'm going to say that's 5-0, Madam Clerk. Thank you.